Hello, and thank you for joining us on this leg of our trip through Arizona, Nevada, and California. We explore the Kingman, Arizona area, to the Valley of Fire, to the Alabama Hills, and to the Inyo National Forest. Whew, that's a lot. We are Flight of the Crowswing. We left our camp of 2 weeks in the Owen National Wildlife Refuge and headed towards Kingman, Arizona with the aim of getting shot. Specifically, we were able to snag 2 vaccine appointments at a drugstore in Kingman. We found campsites on the BLM lands near the Hualapai Mountain area. The first site was not so great, but the second was very nice, and we settled in with recreational opportunities close to hand and a pleasant place to relax. The road to our camp, Old 193, had been paved at one time, but now it resembles a post-apocalyptic road with potholes, fissures, and crumbling remains of asphalt. But it was nothing our truck and our Teardrop couldn't handle with ease.
What you doing?
Waiting.
Waiting for what?
My first shot of Moderna.
Your first shot of Moderna?
Moderna, the vaccine.
For?
The COVID-19 virus.
I just wanted to make sure you knew.
I know what it's for. I'm not a complete idiot, Mom.
We'll see.
We'll see.
And I didn't even cry. After a couple of days of vaccination recovery, we went to the nearby Hualapai Mountain Park to do some hiking on their network of trails. Our original plan was to hike to the Dinosaur Rock Overlook, but a passing hiker told us that trail was under 3 feet of snow. With that in mind, we changed our plans and hiked the Aspen Peak Trail. In the end, we managed to hike just over 5 miles, with just over 1,400 feet elevation gain. It wasn't easy. Turns out we weren't as recovered as we thought.
This trail wasn't overly difficult, but it still kicked our butts.
After hiking, relaxing, and producing a video tour of our trailer, we decided to heat things up and visit the Valley of Fire. To change things up from our normal operation, we decided to stay in the campground. 1, because it was really convenient to the hiking, and 2, it had really cool rocks. The campground was very nice, but the pit toilet had issues of its own.
Sugar's full. Found a room.
What kind of room?
A cozy little room. It's got windows, so you can see out over the denizens of the desert.
You mean the
Neighbors?
campers?
Yeah, that's the
The road from the visitor center to many of the park's attractions is Mouse Tank's Road, and this road is an attraction all its own. It winds through the landscape, leading you to vistas all afire with color.
Morning in the Valley of Fire. Our first hike of the day. Fire waves. At least I think this is it. Well, maybe we're not there yet.
Fire! Over a couple of days, we hiked the many trails. This one led to the Fire Wave, and then into the Pink Canyon. We laughed at this sign, which seems to agree with the argument against stacking rocks. Oh, the inhumanity of it all! The park boasts about being the set location for many films, including the site from the 1966 film, The Professionals. The slot canyon was difficult to photograph because it was constantly full of people, or as Beth likes to call them, yahoos. While in the park, we spotted the iconic and majestical bighorn sheep. These rams were using their browsers to feed. All over the West are numerous depictions of these creatures, but we are always struck by how they look up close. Majestical. Derp. Majestical. Derp. Majestical. Derp.
I hate when people photograph me while I'm eating. Derp.
And this beautiful lady visited our campsite. We had hours of fun climbing the rocks above our camp, photographing anything that caught our eye, including these caterpillars that we don't know what they are. We photographed the petroglyphs of Atlatl Rock in the glow of the early morning light. The stick with the loop on the end is a depiction of an atlatl. It's a device used to increase the velocity of a thrown spear. We couldn't resist the draw of the valley, and we spent another day hiking the many trails, including the Fire Canyon and the Seven Wonders Trail. We were very lucky to come across this small herd of ewes with their babies.
The babies, they're so cute.
What you got? What kind of lizard?
Intrepid wildlife photographer spots an animal.
Little.
Cool, an elephant.
Okay. Soon it was time for our next adventure, and we headed west towards the Alabama hills. Our route took us through Las Vegas. We stopped at Level Canyon Road where we spent the night, and then it was on through Death Valley towards the hills. The long, steep grade out of Death Valley can be very hard on vehicles. In the distance, we spotted smoke on the horizon. Initially, we thought we would be able to stop and help, but this turned out to be an RV on fire, and it was way beyond our capabilities.
Let that car in front of you get over there.
There were already many people at the scene, so we made our way carefully past the burning RV. It was clear that this was going to be a total loss.
Whoa.
Oh my god.
Jumped way too long by there, huh?
By afternoon, we arrived at the Alabama hills, along with seemingly everybody else.
So many campers.
Right here we start the Tuttle Creek Trail. Is that what it's called?
Tuttle Creek Trail.
Which goes about 2 miles up to an ashram.
Ashram.
How do you pronounce it?
I
An
don't know,
abandoned
I'm
one.
not spiritual.
Maybe you will be after this.
This hike was just shy of 4 miles, with an elevation gain of 1,300 feet, and at this time of the day, it was pleasantly uncrowded.
Made it.
The ashram was built by Franklin Wolfe and his wife in the 1930s and reverted to federal ownership after their deaths.
Nicely built fireplace. Oh, there's offerings left here, dear. Come, leave an offer, save your soul.
I'll put my offering up there. Here's a wing nut for all the spiritualists. She laughs, an atheist.
It's to the god of all construction, of all mechanical construction.
In spite of the multitudes in the hills below us, we managed to have this peaceful place to ourselves for more than an hour.
About ready? Didn't think we'd see any fish on this trail, but look.
Yeah, he's smiling.
We found the rest of the skull in the sign of the first tragedy.
I don't know, I think something smells fishy.
Ravens will be happy.
Yes, they will.
Tucked behind the rock of our campsite was a flat rock that we dubbed the back porch. Though lovely, the Alabama Hills was much too crowded for us, so we decided to seek some quietude at the Owens River Gorge in the Inyo National Forest. Along the way, we made a stop at the Manzanar Japanese internment camp. Manzanar was the first of 10 such concentration camps which housed over 110,000 Japanese American citizens during World War II. This is the fourth of such camps that we've come across in our travels. While they were here, they built beautiful gardens to help them deal with the ugliness of their situation.
Wow, it's pretty.
The inscription on this tower reads Ireto, meaning soul-consoling tower, and it stands in tribute to Manzanar's dead. We found a nice quiet campsite in the Inyo National Forest along the Owens River Gorge. An hour's drive from our campsite led us to the ancient bristlecone pine forest.
An overlook by the bristlecone pine cone. Ancient place. The Sierras. Inconsolable range. Is that right?
Inconsolable range. I can't climb that high and I am inconsolable.
From the visitor center, we took the hike on the Discovery Trail to the Schulman Grove. Dr. Schulman is the man who discovered that these trees were over 4,000 years old, and at least one as old as 4,700 years.
He was 3,200 years old
In 1676.
when it died in 1676. Some of its growth rings can have 100 growth rings in as little as an inch. They grow and it's slow. Slow grow.
bristlecone pine trees can survive with up to 90% loss of bark. This one has one strip of bark keeping it alive. Just like that. They can keep their needles for 40 years before they replace them. They're soft.
Although dead, this particular tree is so beautiful it's had more photographs taken of it than any Instagram model you'll ever find. These trees live at a high altitude in a harsh environment, and it's the harshness of their environment that makes them so tough, and it's their toughness that makes them so long-lived. That, and the resin that makes them taste bad. We'd heard that nearby Crowley Lake had some interesting stone columns that had been created by a long-ago volcanic eruption. We decided to go investigate, but we took the long way in.
I missed a turn while navigating, so we ended up taking the long way. But it turned out that James got to drive across some rough, rocky roads, and it was a beautiful drive, so win-win.
Hey, little lady, you need a ride?
Okay, Jeb. Messed up my shot, mister.
We stopped for lunch on a secluded beach on this beautiful lake, and after some quiet reflection, we headed back to camp. On our way, we spied some rusty equipment, and we had to stop because rusty equipment is always worth stopping for. Soon it was time to pack up and cross the Sierra Nevadas to visit our daughter and son-in-law in Redwood City. We took the beautiful Route 88 over Carson Pass. Our California springtime turned into winter as the elevations climbed. On the other side were green valleys and plants in bloom, and springtime again. Thank you for joining us on this adventure. Until next time, stay safe and keep being your beautiful, majestical self. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe.